Spoiler warning for Chapter 20 of Boruto TBV. Yes, I did say Chapter 20. I know Chapter 21 leaks and spoilers are already out, and the official is just around the corner, but we still wanted to release the great discussion we had on Chapter 20. Part 1 of that talk is already out on the channel. That one is focused on the Shinju. This part is focused on Sarada's MS abilities. Did we get it right, or did we get it wrong? Or maybe the new chapter doesn't even really touch on Sarada's MS ability. I don't really know because I don't look at spoilers or leaks, but either way, we had a great talk. Hope you guys enjoy it as well. Timestamps in the description as always.
And actually, if you think about it, even Sarada, when she her first encounter with Hidari comes to mind to me. Because she's like, what the fuck? Like, oh, whoops, I don't know. I guess we gotta bleep that out. But she's like,
it's okay. We're not in the phase where we're able to be monetized anyways, so
that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like, what the freak? Like, this guy can use my dad's Chidori and like, his chakra signatures.
Yeah.
Guy, like, who is this guy, right?
Yeah.
And she actually, you know what? I don't even know if she misses her dad, bro. I don't see her thinking about him.
She thinks about
Boruto, bro.
To be fair, she hasn't had that much time of knowing, that he's been stuck in a tree.
That's true. She doesn't even know where he is.
Yeah, I mean,
Sasuke went to go get milk, bro.
I'm just now realizing that I was gonna have a conversation. We're gonna have this conversation later, but might as well have it now. Yodo tells Sarada. I wanted to talk about what Yodo told Sarada because I'm very curious what she means by like Sarada has been holding back. I mean, she met the Mangekyo, obviously, but why she was, that I'm very curious about. But Yodo said it's okay for you to use that power to save that person who's the most important to you. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, she's talking about Boruto, because she literally was talking about Boruto. But you could mean that to mean Sasuke too, right? It just hit me, right? Like it could be technically referring to Sasuke also, because he is the person who needs saving right now, not Boruto.
Well, I mean, if you wanna just start spitballing stuff, maybe she thinks, if I start using my Mangekyo, I'll go blind. I need to take my dad's eyes. I don't know. I don't even know.
I don't know if she knows that. Yeah, she might not. So.
But that'd be kind of cool if I call it. I should.
No, yeah, that would be a really cool dynamic. And that would be a very interesting motivation for her to not use it. But yeah, no, I don't think there's enough information for us to really go off of in terms of why she's been holding back. But I'm curious to see where that goes and how that gets explored. So I figured that I bring that up now, sort of when we're on the topic. Yeah. Speaking of Sarada, let's get into it. Sarada's Mangekyo Sharingan ability. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about the narrative up until now. We will still be talking about that as it relates to Sarada's Mangekyo ability, but we're also going to get into a little bit of fun with the speculation of what that ability might be.
Ah, man, the wonder of showing something new. that breathed life into this series. I'm not gonna lie. I was like the past maybe 2 months, 3 months. I just been scrolling, man.
Yeah, me too. No, that was this was like a good chapter, I think. Beyond that, but that was the hype moment, right? Like, okay, we're finally gonna see it, I caught up with TBV a little bit later, and Boruto in general a little bit after TBV released, around chapter 9 or 10 or so. So I haven't been waiting for as long, but I know some of you have been waiting for Sarada's Mangekyo for 2 years now or something like that.
I've been waiting for at least 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. So I've only been waiting for about a year, I would say. So it's not been as bad for me, but that was definitely a hype moment.
Man.
Yeah.
It's just people were already talking about it 3 years ago before any of this even came out, what it could be. So we finally get to see it, right? But in terms of what it could be, so in the chapter, all we see is Ryu's iron sand being sucked up and disappear. That's all we see. And then what's his face? Mitsuki kind of says, "Oh, like all Iron Sand's like going away, like I can move or whatever, you know." And so there's a lot of content out there and a lot of people talking about it. So this is kind of our take, or not our take, but we just want to discuss what everyone's been talking about.
Yeah, so
So
I think you can't talk about Mangekyo abilities without touching on the mythology of it, because if any of you know anything about the Sharingan and Naruto lore in general, Kishimoto borrows very, very, very heavily from Shinto mythology and stuff like folklore and stuff like that. Like pretty much every Mangekyo ability is named after some kind of like, you know, Shinto myth thing. Amaterasu, Tsukiyomi, Susanoo, those are all those are three of like the biggest like Shinto gods. That they're kind of like a trio. So it makes sense that they're together. Amaterasu is the interesting one for me. Obviously she's not using Amaterasu. I almost want to say she should have it, because Amaterasu was the Mangekyo ability that both Itachi and Sasuke shared. Obviously, Sarada is Sasuke's daughter, but son, different son, U instead of an O. Obviously, she's got the sun symbology with like her Mangekyo pattern, and Amaterasu is the sun goddess, so. It feels like a gimme that maybe she would have Amaterasu as one of her abilities, but maybe she doesn't, right? Like, it's very possible she doesn't. But if she does, then, you know, I just want to say that sort of, like, symbolism and borrowing from mythology, like, that's there, if it happens.
Yeah, and even, like, connecting the mythology to other aspects of, like, what makes a Mangekyo, right? You know, it's very commonly, you know, it's actually very explicitly stated that a Mangekyo Sharingan also reflects their inner desire, right? So what they truly want, or a lot of the times, you know, I guess quote unquote what they truly want, right? Or what they truly feel.
I think the Sharingan
like
has always been
personal thing. Huh?
I feel like the Sharingan has always been sort of, you can sort of see it as a kind of mirror. That's sort of what it's presented as, I would say, just like as a symbol. Obviously, like in terms of the abilities, it like can mirror the opposing like your enemy's actions. But then it's also, you know, symbolically a mirror into your psyche, your emotions and stuff like that.
Yeah, and even talking about those emotions, right? Everything up to this point, like when the Mangekyo develops, you know, has been from intense grief or intense hatred, right?
Well, I think it's. I would argue it's mostly been grief. I don't know if there is what there. I think every.
When I say hatred.
Well, I would argue that's grief too, because that was him grieving Itachi.
Yeah.
That was him after he found out that Itachi like truly loved him, and it was him grieving his death and that he killed him.
Brother.
Yeah. So I would say every Mangekyo awakening has been grief. The closest thing, and I there's been some discourse about this. The closest one to not being grief is Sarada in the sense that like nobody died, quote unquote. But people I just want to put this out there for those who have said like she's the only Uchiha that awakened her Mangekyo out of love. Not true. Yeah. Every Mangekyo has been awakened because of love, right? Loss of love, and that's the same with her because she thought she had lost Naruto, and then she thought she was about to lose Boruto. So, but you know, technically they both hadn't died yet, although she thought Naruto did die. But no, I forgot what point you were saying before that.
Well, I mean, I do want to latch onto this though. In fairness to the people who say it's out of love, right? I think the only reason why they say that is the context, I guess, right? Because this is more peaceful times, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like if we want to get all boomer about it, Like Sarada's been a bit more like, spoiled, like in a more peaceful time, less tragic life than her dad.
By far, by far, yeah,
by far,
yeah,
bro. But so I guess that's why people are saying that. I do like the idea of her mangekyo just being different.
yeah,
In some way or some form as to how it develops. Because Boruto is supposed to be a new age.
yeah,
Like like of course they had to have tragic lives to make what they have now, right? So it would kind of make sense that her mangekyo kind of develops into something else. Just man, now we can just kind of talk about random stuff now. But I just remember when I was researching before I came here, a lot of people were saying like, "Oh, her eyes aren't gonna deteriorate because her mangekyo came out of love."
no, yeah, I just don't think that's true. I'm sorry, yeah.
It's an interesting idea. I mean,
I just don't think it's true. I don't think that would make sense personally.
I mean, that's just be too stupidly OP. I mean,
it would be,
if you wanted to
the more interesting theory would be if she could heal it with like a Byakugo seal, like like the one her mom has. Although, she's never been shown to use medical ninjutsu, as far as I know. I know there was an episode in the anime. I haven't seen this episode, but there was one where she was like, I don't know, they were like learning medical ninjutsu and she couldn't get the hang of it. But then it's like, oh, maybe I haven't watched the episode, so I don't know. Maybe I should have watched it beforehand. But point is, I don't think she's ever been shown to be using medical ninjutsu. So if she suddenly pulls out a Byakugo seal, where it's like the hardest medical ninjutsu to use, I don't know how I would feel about that.
The kids are just talented nowadays, so maybe
true. Maybe we would just accept it, but no. But I bring that up to say one of the ideas that I do like is if her mangekyo had some sort of healing properties, because then that sort of gives her a sort of way to heal without her being sort of a carbon copy of Sakura, and in another sense, also sort of combining her Sasuke parts and her Sakura parts into one, right? Like the dojutsu abilities of Sasuke with the healing of Sakura, but as one ability, not like having both separately, but having them both as one thing. Yeah. I think that's kind of cool. Yeah,
it's definitely reasonable, right? Because she already can she already has really great chakra control, like her mom. You can tell by the way she can do break the ground like her mom does.
That is true.
Yeah, like it could make sense. If she can't heal, then at least she has chakra control.
Yeah.
And I think if anything, this is kind of spitballing, but maybe chakra control could be a part of it. Because even in early Naruto, they said that Sasuke's chakra control is kind of mid, right?
Yeah. Like Sakura's was far above the other two, right? Because she did the tree climbing, or I think easier if memory serves, easier than the other two did.
Yeah, and then another thing was I think I remember, man. I wish I had the receipts to back it up, but I actually do remember seeing that the Sharingan takes a lot of chakra.
That's Kakashi, prime example, right? Because he's not an Uchiha, so he doesn't have I think part of that for Kakashi was also that he can't turn off the Sharingan, to be fair. That was part of the chakra drainage. But it takes chakra. Yeah. I think one thing that I noticed that I thought was interesting while sort of rereading while prepping for this is that I don't know if it's connected at all, but we also did just see an ability used before Sarada used her Mangekyo that did a similar thing to what she's doing now, which is Araya's sword. Sort of taking the iron sand, being able to manipulate it. And the explanation for that was that Shinki infused some of his chakra with his sword, which allowed him to manipulate the iron sand. But what if, her ability has something to do with absorbing chakra from like specific chakra signatures or something like that. Like I don't know. I just thought like it was interesting that you introduced a character with a ability that can affect the iron sand, and now we see Sarada doing it right afterwards.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just not connected. Very possible, but I figured like maybe there's something there.
Yeah. And then I guess just kind of bringing in other people's perspectives too. I think general consensus right now is that like it's some kind of Kamui ability, right? Like deriving from Obito's, right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of people have been referencing. We both watched the same video researching actually.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been referencing like a black hole, right? Because her eyes a sun, right?
Yeah, sun, black hole. There's a connection there. Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people have been referencing that, which I find pretty interesting too.
Sun,
Yeah,
black hole, black flames, Amaterasu, maybe going back to that.
yeah.
I don't know. We're all speculation, but
It's all speculation. Like, if I'm being honest, I have no idea.
no, that's why it's fun though. Like that's why it's exciting, and I think after the last couple of weeks, I think we needed a chapter like this to sort of get the speculation and the excitement going. And
Yeah, because I want to see what it is. I know for sure next chapter. At least I hope so hard. I don't want to see them go back to talking about Kawaki and reviving, Amato's stupid daughter.
Yeah,
I want to know what her Sharingan is, dude. But I don't know. Like, it's interesting, right? I think in terms of the validity of the black holes thing, I do know for sure just looking at the video actually touches on this too. I think we should drop it in the description because it did kind of. I think it's kind of in my opinion, it's one of the better videos and commentary talking about like what her ability could be.
Is the NC Hammer video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think one thing for sure is that she choose what goes away. Kind of similar to Amaterasu, right? Like it has to be in her line.
Right. Like she. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. But to be fair, Amaterasu. I think the level of control that Sasuke had over Amaterasu was because of Kagutsuchi. Yeah.
Oh man, I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right.
Sort of forget that that's his second Mangekyo ability because it's a little bit it's not as flashy as like Tsukiyomi,
Yeah, man, bring Tsukiyomi back, bro.
Sun, moon symbolism. You never know.
All of a sudden, Mitsuki gets a Sharingan. He can use Tsukiyomi.
It's a Mitsuki.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's definitely in the air right now. In terms of what I think, oh no, all the thing is, I just want to see. Like, I don't want to say too much. I do know at least that she can choose what goes away. I definitely believe that 1,000%.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like no one else is getting sucked in. Like no one else's, chakra is going away. Things like that, right? It's just the sand. So I think she has some sort of liberty, but even actually I think it's well. What do you think? What do you think it is? Like just spitball it. That's the kind of video this is.
Well, I have no idea. I do think it's interesting some of the early speculation that her Mangekyo ability when it was like first, she first awakened it, where people thought that she had some sort of like. Koto Matsukami type of thing going on where she was able to like kind of break Sasuke out of omnipotence. Turns out that's very much not true. I didn't think it was true at the time either, but like definitely not true, I would say. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with like genjutsu.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting how we've sort of gone the full circle of like, oh, she has like an ability that's similar to like Shisui's or potentially, it obviously ended up not being the case, to like this could be sort of similar to Obito's, although I don't think it's quite going to be like Obito's either.
Yeah, because Obito's a girl.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to get into tangent about like how cool Obito's like Kamui is like narratively for him as a character, but that's a totally different side conversation. Maybe we make a video about that another time.
Yeah.
But to like, okay, maybe she also has Amaterasu like Sasuke. We've sort of gone through all the different characters, And I'm just ready for her to have something like totally unique to her, because that's what it looks like it's gonna be, right? And that's cool, right? Like, oh, it's like this Kodo Matsukami thing. Oh, it's like, you know, Kamui-esque, but really it's probably gonna be something very unique, and that's exciting to me.
Actually, you know, just even transitioning to a bit more speculation here, which we can then translate to how her mangekyo is relevant to the plot, right? I do want to bring the mythology thing back, because because Noxl and I were kind of, you know, entertaining the Yata mirror when we were prepping, you know, because, you know, her eye does kind of look like the middle of the Yata mirror, right? And you know, obviously Itachi had the Yata mirror, right? Being able to reflect anything, changing itself so that it can do so, right? But if you do a quick search on what the Yata mirror means culturally, like the meaning of it and what it represents, right? You see a lot of you see things like wisdom and honesty, or revealing the truth, right? And a lot of people were actually kind of speculating about that when it comes to Sarada being immune to Ada's Shinjutsu, right? Her charming, her omnipotence when it comes to making her fall in love, right? That was something that I saw a lot of people on Reddit
but then
making
like
comments on.
But what about like Sumire then? She's also,
Yeah.
I guess that's like
that,
the weird thing about all of these theories with Sarada. Like maybe it's her, like her eyes that, but then like
no, we're
Sumire,
literally having a Reddit conversation right now.
Yeah,
like all the Redditors are ahead of us right now. Like they're saying literally what I'm saying and what you're saying. But I mean, it's definitely interesting, right? Especially since we don't know anything yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just something I kind of wanted to bring up too. How relevant her development is to the plot, because, you know, Sarada does represent. Actually, you know, one small comment. Actually, you know, just speaking about revealing the truth, right? Like Sarada has been rallying at Shikamaru to, like, hey, like, you know, something's up. Like,
I mean,
it opens with that.
Maybe there's something to, like, this is probably a super duper reach. I'm putting that out there. I understand this probably, but like her maybe, like, you know, freeing her comrades from the iron sand, some parallels to her freeing people from omnipotence. I think that's a big reach, but like it crossed my mind.
It's a super big reach.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm super convinced about the Yatamir thing either, because we sort of already had that with Itachi, or I don't know of how like intentional that is.
No, she deserves something. She deserves something that's unique to her. For sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just addressing what everyone's thinking is cool too, because I don't know, that's just the main point of speculation, right? Pretty cool.
No, absolutely.
But I think now we can kind of transition to, because, you know, her Sharingan, obviously she's playing it's just kind of just putting her in the spotlight right now. And it's been kind of alluded that Sarada is going to be a point in the plot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, she gets a lot of screen time, you know, more than like any of the other side characters. You know, she's not charmed by Ada, right? You know, and Boruto opens up with, you know, like code targeting Sarada because he knows that, you know, she's precious to him, right? And he comes right away, just like that, you know. So it's already been kind of like, you know, I guess sprinkled throughout the series that Sarada's gonna be pretty important, but now it's real, you know.
Yeah.
So
let's hope they don't drop the ball with this.
I hope not either. You know, you did mention the whole Mangekyo being made out of love thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't seem as plausible, but I kind of hope it is low key, because, you know, I just think it's a perfect setup. Like we're talking about love now.
Well,
like, a lot of comments about love have been made.
I will say this. I think it's fair to say that probably, I mean, it's hard to say completely because we didn't really see what happened with Shisui. And he's the only really like Mangekyo that we've seen that we don't really know sort of how he, like, we didn't really see him after
like
he
how
got
he
it.
got it. Yeah.
Like we sort of know what happened, but we don't, but I do think Sarada's actions, the circumstances around what happened with her awakening the Mangekyo, she has been the least destructive in terms of her behavior and her psyche after the fact. Obviously, Madara went fucking crazy off the deep end, right? Like with his, losing his brother and stuff. Although I think he awakened his Mangekyo before that, right? Like he got the EMS from his brother.
Yeah, they got them together. Actually.
Yeah. But obviously we know what happened with Madara. We know what happened with Sasuke when he awakened it. He sort of like was very destructive in terms of his behavior and his psyche. I think Itachi was more clear-minded, but obviously very self-sacrificing and self-destructive in that way. And so maybe in terms of like how you handle grief, there's something there with Sarada doing it in a healthier way, ? But also I think part of that is because I guess in terms of the aftermath of it, she's not like necessarily grieving in the same way they are, because it's like, I guess, she's had it easy. Like Boruto's not actually dead, or Naruto's not actually dead, right? But maybe there's something there, right, with like how they deal with it.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Especially with just bringing it back to Yodo, right? She's like, oh, you can use your power for X.
Yeah, I'm still very, very curious about where that goes. We sort of touched on that earlier, but that's the other sort of narrative thread there with her Mangekyo ability that I think is really interesting. And I hope they touch on it more. I hope it's not just Yodo sort of giving a passing comment and that's what like pushes her to awaken her Mangekyo and that's it. I hope they actually explore why, whatever reason she was holding back for.
Yeah, I think, and if anything, even if her, the mechanics of her Mangekyo aren't related to love at all, Sarada is still relevant to the conversation of love anyway, because, she's in love with Boruto.
Yeah.
But, so it isn't really that big of a shame. But, I mean, if Boruto's going to become a love story, might as well make her Sharingan about it.
All right. I think that's a good place for us to end it off, unless there's anything else that you want to say.
Honestly, not really. I think we
touched on
we touched on a lot of things that we were both thinking about prior coming to this recording, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're just hopeful now.
Yeah.
We're waiting.